So you said you like leather fragrance, or maybe you're not sure if you like leather fragrances quite yet, but you want to get into them. Today we're going to be going over top 10 of the best leather fragrances on the market. And I've structured this video a little bit differently than normal. This is going to be a top 10, and at number 10, 9, and 8 towards the bottom of the list, we're going to have more wearable leather fragrances. These are going to have leather as one of the prominent notes still, right, to make it in the list, but they're not going to be super heavy hitters that may be a bit harder to pull off. These are all still going to have mass appeal. They're going to be a lot more wearable. But as we get to like number 6 and 5 and beyond, that's where we really start getting into the hard-hitting leather fragrances, which is what you probably came here for. But I wanted to ease into this video with a few leather fragrances that can kind of help you get into them and start playing around with the note without going too overboard. So we have a little bit of everything in here for this list. Hope you guys are ready to dive into it. Before we get into this one, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, and also don't forget that I will link to all these fragrances down below, all to discount websites, because all of these are available on discounters. That way you can save yourself some money, pick these up at a discounted price. Now, let's go and jump into this list. Starting out at number 10, we have Prada L'Homme Intense. So this one is Prada L'Homme DNA with that iris note, but this one brings in leather. And you can pick up on it in here. It's a nice smelling leather mixing with the other Prada L'Homme fragrance notes like the iris and some of the citrus in the opening. When you smell it in the air, it smells really nice. It's a little bit of a sweeter, darker, heavier version of Prada L'Homme, utilizing leather and tonka bean. Leather is one of the main players in here, but it's not like a super heavy leather fragrance. Again, we're kind of easing into it at number 10 here and beyond, so as the list progresses, we'll get into some heavy hitters. But if you want to stick with something that's going to be very mass appealing and easy to wear, but still has just a little bit of, an edge to it, check out Prada L'Homme Intense at number 10. At number 9, we have Bentley For Men Intense. So this one is a boozy leather fragrance. It has that whiskey note, that leather, a nice smoky incense note, and this smells great. This one is probably going to be the cheapest fragrance in this list at like $20 to $25, maybe $30, pushing it for this scent. That's an incredible price. You're getting a niche quality scent with great performance and a nice leather-based scent. Again, it's not just leather, it's going to be that leather, the boozy whiskey, and that smoky type of thing going on. So it's kind of a combination here, but you do pick up on that leather amongst some other notes. And again, this one is starting to kind of push it a little bit, where this is going to be a bit more daring. Not everyone's going to like this. Not everyone's going to be able to pull this off. But for those of you who like this sort of thing, you're really going to enjoy something like this. And again, for the price, you can't beat it. Number 8, we have Issey Miyake Noir Argent. This one is leather, but with some like balsamic notes. This one's got some sweet, like sticky sweet myrrh, some sweet amber in here. There's a lot going on in the scent. Of course, one of which being leather. And again, it's not a super strong leather, but it is in here, and it is starting to ramp up a little bit. You can smell it kind of basically all the way through the fragrance, from the opening into the mid and finally into the dry down. So this is a really nice one as well, kind of underrated in my opinion, and you can get this one for around $40 to $50. So not a bad price at all. It's pretty affordable for a fragrance like this. This is niche quality, or pretty close to it in my opinion, and it's coming from a designer house. As we progress, you'll notice it's going to start to get a little bit more expensive as we kind of get into some niche or higher end designer fragrances. The price is going to be going up, but that's what you get. You're kind of paying for the quality in that situation, but you don't always have to pay a premium for quality, and this right here is a perfect example. If you want a nice, affordable, leather-based fragrance, but also with a lot of sweetness, check this one out. Number 7, we have Bottega Veneta Pour Homme Eau de Toilette. This one is leather with some pine needles, pine needles and like sharp woods, and a nice leather note. This is really, really good stuff. Kind of goes back to that old school DNA, that kind of old-fashioned style of fragrances, almost in the fougere category a little bit here. Very masculine stuff, very strong, very assertive and dominating smelling. Like when you spray this stuff, it's an attention grabber for sure. And leather is utilized in here to kind of provide a base for the pine and the woods, and a little bit of the citrus that you get in the opening. But it's primarily a leather, woody, pine needles, resinous type of scent. It smells like you are out in the woods with like a leather jacket on is one way to describe it. Like, you know, you're cutting down a tree, wearing a nice leather jacket in the fall, you know, something along those lines is kind of, you know, one way you could describe the scent. It's just all around a very masculine scent, and this is quite a bit different than a lot of new fragrances being released. And this also kind of provides a bit of variety to this list, as most other scents in here don't go this direction. Moving into number 6, we have John Varvatos Dark Rebel Rider. As you can see by the bottle here, you can probably guess this is going to be a leather-based fragrance. Got this nice leather wrap around the bottle, which you can actually take off. These do unzip. You can take this out of this leather pouch, which I think is pretty cool. It's just got a very cool feeling to it. I mean, when you hold this bottle and you apply this stuff, I mean, you can just tell that this is a powerful scent. You know, performance may lack with it a little bit, but I mean powerful in terms of the composition, how it actually smells. It's leather with a bit of a booziness as well, kind of in the same category as something like Bentley For Men Intense, but more focused on the leather and less focused on the booziness, even though it is still in there. It goes in a completely different direction, and it's a completely different scent. This one's very high quality, and it's very unique, all at around the $30 to $35 price point, maybe a little bit more depending on what the market is doing, but it's a great scent, especially for the price. It's a great leather one to get into at a cheaper price with great quality. Okay, so moving into number 5, we have Tom Ford Ombre Leather. This is going to be the re-release in their signature line. However, if you have Ombre Leather 16, you can put this here as well. Some people may even put it up higher. I have Ombre Leather 16. I love it. It is discontinued, so I'm not going to be featuring it. I'm going to be rocking with Ombre Leather. I think this is a great, great scent here from Tom Ford. You know, the only reason why it's a little bit lower is because I may have another Tom Ford fragrance that's higher up. You know, I didn't want to put them too close together. I didn't want to get repetitive there. And I also do think that a few fragrances above this one kind of has a bit more uses. Again, I love Ombre Leather. I think it's great. But there's also a few other great ones coming up that are really good and worth mentioning as well. Number 4, we have CH Men Prive and CH Men. So we are doing a tie here. I didn't want to break up the list and put both of these. So we got these two. Both are fantastic scents. CH Men Prive goes in more of the boozy leather direction like we've seen with a few other scents. And the original CH Men goes in more of like a sugary leather direction. Sugary, grassy green leather scent. Both are fantastic and both are 100% worth being in the list. You may be wondering why they're ranking a bit higher than Ombre Leather, and it's just because these are very, very wearable, and they're also, you know, very high quality for the price. Tom Ford Ombre Leather, even the signature version, is going to be well over $100 for that bottle, which isn't awful for a Tom Ford, but it is pushing it. Both of these are around $50 a piece, so you could get two of these essentially for the price of one with a Tom Ford. And again, you know, I think Ombre Leather is great, but I also think these are great. They're honestly very wearable and very high quality, and also just very innovative for the price. There's nothing out there that really smells like these. If there is, there's stuff that's come after them and they're trying to kind of get close to them, but these kind of paved their own way in the leather fragrance genre in the mid-range designer price. I think that's saying something. At number 3, we have Godolphin by Parfums de Marly. This one gets compared to a few other fragrances, a couple of which being from Tom Ford. And yeah, I do 100% see the comparison, but I also think that this one does stand on its own, and it does have some characteristics that do set it apart. One of which being, it's got a bit more of like a smokiness to my nose than compared to something like Tuscan Leather and Ombre Leather. A bit more of a smokiness. The fruits in this scent come across a little bit different. This one also has very, very good performance. I know there's kind of talk and issues with Tuscan Leather and Ombre Leather and all that stuff in terms of performance. This one seems to be pretty linear for me in terms of performance. There's no issues with me. Most people else seem to have no issues either, so it seems to be all around a pretty solid scent for the price. It is a Parfums de Marly. It is coming in at around $200 on discounters, but for a 125 ml, that's a pretty good price. You're getting pretty good bang for your buck. It's a great smelling scent and a really, really good take on leather. Number 2, we have Dior Homme Parfum. In my opinion, one of the best from the Dior Homme line by far. This one is leather. This one is rose. This one is iris. there's just a great combination of notes here. The main one being that leather mixing with that rose. It smells incredible. Seriously, guys, try this stuff out if you can. If you like Dior Homme Intense, you're probably going to like this one. Again, it's a big step up from Dior Homme Intense. It's a lot more daring, a lot less wearable, and it really kind of takes that DNA to the complete max. But if you like extremes, you're going to like this scent. And for me, it's a winner. I like when things are pushed to the extreme like that. You know, you have even something like Leighton Exclusive by Parfums de Marly. They took Leighton, which was already great, and they pushed it even more, and I love it. I love what they did with Dior Homme Parfum. And again, #2 spot for some of the best leather fragrances out there. And finally, at #1, I'm sure you know what this one is because I've been mentioning it here and there, and I haven't included it yet. This one, of course, is Tom Ford Tuscan Leather. Look, it smells great, and for me, this is kind of the OG leather fragrance, where when I think of a leather fragrance, this one's always the first one to come to mind. Sure, there's Ombre Leather, sure, there's Godolphin, sure, there's Dior Homme Parfum, but when I think leather fragrance, this one always is right there. It's really made its mark in the community. It smells incredible, and sure, it is a bit more expensive, $150 or so, $160 maybe, just depending on what it is for a 50 ml bottle. That's a pretty high price per ml. That's where scents like Godolphin gets pretty close, could come in. Ombre Leather 16, that one could come into play. But again, you have to pay to play with this hobby, and if you want the real thing, and the OG Tuscan Leather is going to be it. It's worth the investment. It really is. If you like leather, then this is worth having in your collection. Even though there's clones, even though there's other alternatives which are cheaper, it's just worth having the OG Tuscan Leather if you like leather and you're into this sort of thing. Trust me, guys, I put it off for a while, but now that I have it, it's one where I just crave, and I wear it often, I reach for it often. It's a great smelling scent, and it's kind of one of those staples to have in your collection. So guys, that was going to do it for me. That was my 10 best leather fragrances currently on the market. Let me know your thoughts down below, which ones you like, don't like, and so on. Remember that all these will also be linked down below. If you want to check them out or pick any of them up, you can hit those links down there. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow night with another one. Take care.